Yeah, that's a great question. Because I used to start out interviewing candidates for 30 minutes on college recruiting many years before you guys were even born. So uh, the, neither here nor there. I do not. I tell hiring managers 30 minutes is not enough to assess anybody. 30 minutes is enough to tell you if you shouldn't hire the person and if you should talk to the person for a longer period of time. So what I would do is this. So let me that's almost a good setup for this. I would say early in the interview is ask the interviewer, say, I know I only got 30 minutes. Would you mind telling me the one or two biggest challenges you're facing in that job? Because what I'd like to do is give you some ideas on what I've done that's related to that, and also how I would solve that problem. Now, this is what you're saying. You got 30 minutes to prove your statement. So you just asked it. That's the forced choice question. I know there's only be 30 minutes, and I know I'd like to demonstrate that I am capable, but what I'd really like to do is understand your problem that you want this person to address or challenge. I'd like to give you an example of something I've done that's most related, and also how I'd go about solving that problem. Now, that's pretty tough to pull off, but if you pull it off, you're in the game. So that's called a forced choice question. I'm going to tell you how to answer the question in a minute, but I want to also give you how to handle a stupid question. Let's assume someone says, we're looking for somebody who can design light bulbs. Tell me how you do it. There's no way you're going to get that answer right. It's not meant to really get you an answer. It's meant to figure out how you think as opposed to how to answer the question. But it's so irrelevant that it's still a stupid question. What's not a stupid question is, hey, how would you market light bulbs? You might want to say to the interviewer, said, I'll be happy to tell you, but how does that relate to the real job? And you could just be frank and upfront. Good people would not answer the question the way it's asked. They would say, that's a stupid, now I would say this, that's a stupid question. I would not suggest you say that. That will not get you the job. I grew up in the Bronx and worked in manufacturing, so I could ask that question. But I would be respectful to say, that's an interesting question. How does that relate to the job? Because I'd really like to address it in the context of how this is going to be, that the skills based on that will be used on the job. That's called a pushback forced choice question. You just say, tell me how that thing that you're asking relates to the job, as opposed to this generic question, which is really just a test to see how you handle it. But the best way to handle it is to push back a little bit. I don't understand, I'd be happy to answer that question, but how does that relate to the real job? And then the person will be fumbled. Actually, just asking the question will get you a star. They'll say, oh, this candidate's pretty interesting. They're not about to just go answer and hopefully, be like a little puppy dog and beg for a question. No, you're going to be authoritative, at least to some degree. So show that you have a backbone. And feel free to do that. So you have the forced choice question, which is, hey, please tell me about what the challenges are. I'd like to tell you how some work I've done that's related to that. And the push forced choice question is, when someone asks a question, you say, how does that relate to real job needs? Now, the way you're going to answer the question, and this is critical, and that's why I want to just end this, at least my part. I'll answer one or two other questions. I'm losing my voice, so at least we got the sound here. There's a concept of how to answer a question. And I call it SAFW, say a few words. And a good answer has to be about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. If you give short answers at 30 seconds, you're just going to say this person doesn't communicate too well, and you're going to get blown out of the interview. If you talk more than 2 to 3 minutes, you're going to be seen as egotistical and self-absorbed. A good answer is about 2 minutes. And the context is this: say a few words. Opening statement, that's the S. Say a few words. Well, I think I'm real strong at working collaboratively with marketing people and engineering teams on developing user interfaces. Amplify the statement. Let me give you, for the last 3 jobs, that's the area I've been assigned to a bunch of different teams where we've worked on user interfaces, particularly when we're dealing with a customer like A, B, and C. For example, that's the few. Say a few words. So it's an opening statement, amplify it, give a few examples. The best example I can give is one of this project I just worked on the team where we had marketing people, we had 2 customer-facing teams, and I was developing all the use cases for that and came up with some. And also really pretty cool, I was working with the creative advertising people, so we came up with this design that did this, this, and this, and positioned people right to that. That's pretty cool. So I really feel that my background, I don't have a lot of years of it, but the three projects I've worked on the last 2 years really stretch it. We were working around the clock for a couple of days to make the deadlines, but we got an award for that project. That's say a few words. And then you might end it with, do you think that's consistent with what you need on this job? So that's also called another hook to get that's called the anchor and the hook, is to get the interviewer to say, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me ask you another question about that. So the idea of understanding how to get a job through the back door, being different, using your cover letter, using video, using LinkedIn to find the names of people, even people work with them. Then when you get in the interview, don't submit to stupid questions. It will not help you. It's problematic because you don't know, you could ask the same question to 3 people, might ask the same question. If, who knows, one of the people might like your answer, the other 2 think it's idiotic. So don't put yourself in the Las Vegas odds to get a job. Focus on what you can do and demonstrate that you can say it clearly what you have accomplished related to their needs. But you have to understand their needs first. So now I'm